All right, here right now on Radio Row with the great Lindsay Rhodes of SumerSports. We use Sumer's info all the time.
Good.
I'm on the Sumer brain all the time.
Awesome.
New best friend.
Have you
this
tried
whole
out
AI
Sumer
thing,
Live?
nothing to be afraid of.
Oh,
People,
yeah.
it's okay. I've
You're
developed a little bit of a
touching on a
relationship
sore
with Sumer
subject.
brain, but that's
Yeah.
okay. No, he's great. She's great. It's great. Whatever it is. What's the best way to use the AI technology that you guys have to prepare for instance, the Super Bowl? For people at home that are like, Sumer brain, what does this say? Because anybody can go and log into
Yeah.
it right now and start asking football questions and get answers in real time.
Yeah.
How do you use it before a game like this?
I think so. The way that I use Sumer Brain is to find out like multivariable type of questions. So things that you can't find a specific database that tracks that specific thing, right? So it could be what kind of coverage will the Patriots, do they use most frequently against 12 personnel? Right, something like that, where you can kind of you can find out how much the Seahawks run 12 personnel in the SumerSports.com database. But you can't find out like the next step, like what this particular team does against that. And so I think it's best to use for hard questions that you just can't find easily.
It really has been useful for me. We were doing something before the Chargers game, and the Chargers and Seahawks defenses actually have some similarities to them. And I was asking about disguised coverages. Because I couldn't find anything on disguised coverages just out. Like, you can't just Google how often do the Chargers disguise coverage, but you can ask Sumer Brain and says they actually run it this percentage of the time. Yep. And then you can ask a follow-up and say, well, how has Drake Maye done against disguised coverages in 2025 and give you all sorts of passing numbers. It's great.
We found earlier in the season, after the first Rams-Seahawks game, one of my coworkers did a whole Sumer Brain thing about Sam Darnold, middle of the field, open to closed, and like that specific disguise, and how did he do from an EPA per play standpoint on those specific plays, and found that that was a problem in that game specifically, but it hadn't been a problem for him in the past. Like these are like the in the weeds things.
Really granular.
But if you're looking for game planning type things, I think of it from like, even if I'm a high school coach or something like that, it's a good tool to go look up probabilities that are attached to certain things and get information that can benefit you.
Well, and even, especially before the Super Bowl, you get 2 weeks, everybody's talking about the same game.
Right.
I think people are gonna, as this week especially wears on, want more and more in terms of detail and how the Seahawks
Sumer
might play
Live?
Drake Maye, et cetera, et cetera. Sumer Live.
Okay, that tells me no, and
Nope.
you're welcome for what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
SumerSports.com.
Yes.
Okay, there's a tab at the top that says Sumer Live.
I think I've seen you tweet about
It
Sumer
is
Live.
a
but tell us.
live dashboard
Yeah.
that is going to change your life. Okay?
Okay.
So if you have it open during the game, there's a play-by-play feed. And as each play happens, this will happen not if you're at the game, but if you're home watching on TV, it'll pop up right before the game, the play actually happens on TV, and it will update all of the advanced stats after each play.
Wow.
So if you want to know, for instance, in this game, I keep going to 12 personnel because that's a big storyline for the Seahawks, right? So if you want to know how frequently they're running, how they're operating out of 12 personnel, it'll update those after every single play. And the play-by-play feed will tell you not only that it's Drake Maye to Stephon Diggs for 12 yards, that kind of basic stuff. It'll also tell you they were in 11 personnel facing a heavy box, cover 3, there was motion, and then it'll also isolate an impact player. Not all the time, but if there is an impact player, it'll isolate it. It could be in the Seahawks-Rams game, it isolated the center for the Seahawks a couple of times. And you're like, why is the center an impact player? And then you can go back and you can watch the tape of it and find him mauling someone to create a hole. So
really interesting.
Yes, Sumer Live, check it out as like a second screen
experience as the game is going on. I love that. Let's talk about this game specifically. You mentioned 12 personnel for the Seahawks. My guess is that's a big thing for them because this offense, Clint Kubiak, under center, play action, helps maybe sell those run looks.
They want to get you in base.
Do the Seahawks need to be able to use those types of plays in order to beat the Patriots? Meaning, can Sam Darnold beat the Patriots as a true drop-back passer?
I don't think he needs to be. because I just don't think that that's the way that the game's going to play out. I think that what they do is they run the ball a ton, and they run the ball not particularly efficiently, though they've gotten better and they've been pretty efficient in the postseason. But on the season, they run the ball they're 29th in EPA per rush. But everybody thinks of the Seahawks as a good rushing team because they run so frequently that from a counting stat standpoint, they end up with a lot of rushing yards, which is what a lot of people base their evaluation off of. They're not efficient, but they're doing it anyway, and they're doing it consistently, specifically a lot of times out of 12 to give you heavy looks so that they can get you into a look that accounts for the run, and then they can throw it over the top. And so they don't throw the ball very frequently. Their pass rate over expected is very, very low. But when they do, it's because they saw something in the defense that they think that they can attack. And then they have the 8th best passing attack from an efficiency standpoint. Even though they're not throwing it very much, they're very efficient when they do.
Okay, so Sam Darnold might not need to be a drop back passer. If he was, would you believe in him?
Yeah, I mean, look.
I only ask that because it felt like there were times during the season, Lindsay, where I'm not sure the Seahawks, quote unquote, believed in him. That might be too strong, but, it feels like, as is the case often with these West Coast offenses, a lot of it is based on running the football, play action off it, the bootleg stuff. And then when you get into the drop back game, it's like, do you really want these guys? Whether it's, Jimmy Garoppolo is a good example for us back in the day because he's a former Patriot, watched him in San Francisco have a lot of success. And then he'd get into 3rd and long, and he didn't always have success. Is Sam Darnold that kind of player?
He was against the Rams.
He had a unbelievable game against the Rams, and so if they get that guy, you're right. There's nobody who shouldn't believe in him. Yeah.
The concern that I have is I think, and I understand why this is the thing, that everybody's just waiting for the bottom to fall out, right? And they're waiting for the carriage to turn into a pumpkin and the clock to strike. I get it. I fully get it. But I also think that there's a development curve to Sam Darnold's career that has put him in a position, and I could totally end up being wrong on Sunday, but I think that when you're a veteran quarterback, even once you get to a point like Aaron Rodgers, there are physical deficiencies at this stage of his game that have been obvious for the last few years, to be honest. But what he does have is an ability to read a defense and know where the open man is going to be. And so if you try to double JSN, I have faith that Sam Darnold has learned over the years how to identify where the open man is inevitably going to be. If you use 2 to take away JSN, then maybe that's Rashid, maybe it's AJ Barner or somebody like that. So I think that just the mental aspect of a quarterback's game that is so, so valuable is something that he's had time to develop. And so maybe I have more faith in him than I should at this point, but I do.
Patriots, I don't know if you've heard, have a very young quarterback.
Yes,
so
who is so insanely good.
Has had an amazing year.
Yeah.
Postseason hasn't been the same for him.
Well, he's faced very good defenses.
There's some factors there, right? Defenses, the weather in 2 of these games has been a real factor in terms of impacting the passing game. As a young player on this stage, does he need to have his best game in order to help the Patriots win? Or can they get by with another sort of, what he's given them, which is some rushing yards, some, big plays through the air when they need him, but just overall not the efficient quarterback that we've seen over the course of the regular season?
Yeah, I don't think he needs to light it up. I don't think he needs a super big line. I think that the key for him is to avoid sacks. It's to avoid, if he has a deficiency at this point in his game, which is incredible. He was my vote for AP quarterback, first team. It's sack avoidance. And so, and I'm not comparing him to Caleb in any way, but what we saw, like Caleb's biggest growth this year was in his, you saw his sack numbers go down. And it's not just because the O-line got better, it's because he got better at avoiding them. And I think that just came with, things slowing down and him kind of, so his pressure to sack is what you're looking at here. And then I think escape to pocket attempt is something that we have not seen Drake do in the 2 games leading up to this. 2 of the playoff games so far, we've seen him take 0 pressure to escape attempts. And so,
so that means scramble to throw.
That means there is pressure, yes, and scramble to throw, not scramble to just tuck it and run, because he does do that. He picks up yards, but keeping the play alive, keeping the eyes downfield, that is something that 2 times in the playoffs so far he has had 0 of those attempts. And I think that the Seahawks are a team that can get pressure without blitzing. And so will they? And then does that create problems for him? Do those pressures turn into sacks? Or can he escape the pressure and keep the ball moving downfield? That's something I'll be watching for.
Okay, really quick prediction before we get to some of our irrelevant questions,
You
which
don't want
Lindsay is so excited to participate in. I don't want to hear. Of course we want to hear.
You don't
It could be
wanna
the
hear
Seahawks.
it.
You could Seahawks are going to win this 45
I'm
to 3.
leaning
Is that what
Seahawks.
you're telling the people at home?
No,
Okay.
no. I don't think it'll be
All
a
right,
blowout.
they can handle it.
I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I think if it is a lopsided game, it'll be Seahawks over Patriots. I don't think the Patriots will win in a lopsided. If they win, I think it'll be close and low scoring. And I just think that the Seahawks, and I know the whole schedule, regular season, overblown. I totally understand it. But from a data, I work into data, right? I'm working probabilities. What have I seen? What have I seen frequently? I've just seen the Seahawks do it against a high level of competition over and over and over again. And I haven't seen that from the Patriots to that degree. The teams that they beat in the playoffs have been insane defenses, but have also had clear and obvious holes to their teams. So I just think that it from a probability standpoint, I feel more comfortable with Seahawks.
Very fair take. I feel like you tried to soften it for the
Did.
people at
I did.
home. And I think you
I
did a
did.
great job of that. And nobody at home is going to hate you for picking the Seahawks over the Patriots. Okay, they're also going to love these answers that you give to
Okay.
our irrelevant questions.
This
Okay,
stresses me out.
irrelevant question number 1.
Okay.
Something you think is overrated. You're a very opinionated person.
Okay.
I know. I follow you on Twitter. Great follow on Twitter. Find
Thanks.
Lindsay Rhodes on X. And I know you've got things that you feel are overrated. So what's the first thing that pops to mind for you?
Okay, I'm going to stick with football because my brain is football counting stats. If you cite for me passing yards or rushing yards or something like that, I think you're looking at the game wrong.
Where do you stand on completion percentage? Are you out on that as well? Because I'm getting kind of... Drake Maye had a phenomenal year, completion percentage. It's not really one of the reasons why I say he had a phenomenal year. It's not a bad thing to have for sure. A lot of guys can rack up completion percentage by just throwing short.
Yeah, it's a part of the story. It is not the story completely. I mean, Tua is a perfect example of somebody who gets the ball out really fast and very short, like 6 yards downfield, lowest average depth of target, high completion percentage. He's doing very little for the offense because he's asked to do very little. So no, I wouldn't say completion percentage is like a be-all, end-all, but it's part of the picture.
Okay, that was a very data-driven, irrelevant questions answer from Lindsay. This one, I don't think, unless you give me like the name of some analytics whiz in the Patriots front office or the Seahawks front office or something, I don't think you can give me a data answer to this one. You can invite any public figure, past or present, to dinner. Who is it?
I don't know.
Come on, don't give me.
I don't know.
You're a big
I'm
wrestling
so
fan.
bad at this
You're a big
stuff.
wrestling fan. I know this about you again because I follow you on Twitter.
I am a wrestling fan.
And I've heard you talk about it on your
He would be number
podcast.
1 on my list, but if we're gonna go down wrestling and we're gonna narrow that, which I do need narrowing. Thank you very much for helping my brain do that.
Part of my job, yeah.
Then I'm gonna go with Seth Rollins. He's my favorite.
Seth Rollins, okay.
Yes.
How did he do in, there was a big event recently.
Yes, it was Royal Rumble.
How did he do?
Okay,
Was he in
in
there?
Saudi Arabia, nobody came. The seats were empty. We have issues with that. He's injured and did not participate.
Oh, okay, but plenty of free time
Is he
to have dinner with Lindsay
injured
Rhodes.
or is he injured? I don't know. I'm sure
Oh.
he'll be here on Radio Row. You can ask him.
Oh,
He won't answer it.
somebody may be keeping him out of the loop. Is that
Well, I'm
what you're
just saying wrestling sometimes, like
Yeah.
if they're injured,
Some
it
drama.
actually means that they just needed a month off.
Okay, last one.
What?
Favorite and least favorite ice cream flavor?
Favorite and least
These are
favorite?
irrelevant
Okay.
questions. They are from
Okay.
literally out of the blue.
So my favorite ice cream flavor is, I'm going to go with a brand and everything, the whole thing.
Wow,
Okay,
okay,
I'm going
please,
to Cold
details,
Stone
yes.
Creamery. I'm doing sweet cream
Okay.
with cookie dough and brownie. Milton's.
Sounds really good. That's the one they kind of chop it
Yeah,
up and
on
they
the
mix it up.
on the ice slab.
Yeah.
Mhm,
I like
that's
that.
the way to go.
Okay. Great answers from Lindsay Rhodes.
Thank you for
Football,
focusing me.
data. She's focused on wrestling and football as well. Go follow her on X. She's tremendous. You're always great to talk to on Radio Row. We appreciate you.
Thank you.